funky bass groove. Pop. Poppin'.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of Conversations in Pencil. Welcome, Tayla.
Hello, everyone.
So today you're on with Nathan and Tayla. Our episode is Failure as Data, How to Fall Forward. How do you feel about this episode, Tayla?
Not very good.
I can
Not
appreciate
very good
this.
at all.
I imagine some of our listeners feel the same as we read our titles out. Not something I want to talk about, not something I want to face, not something I want to think about today. It sounds like we're all in this same sinking boat. And yet, our courageous Tayla has decided to move forward with today's episode and be vulnerable with us and share with us again. I think this is amazing. I'm impressed. So let's kick things off then and start this discussion on failure and our defining of failure. How would you define failure, Tayla, for yourself?
Oh, that's a loaded gun question. I guess my idea of failure is not being where I should be at my age. Which is a constant battle that I have with myself as I try to be graceful and move forward and attain the dreams that I want to reach, but also I have this dead weight that's behind me that's telling me that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And that's usually reflected through societal standards and things that we see online these days. And it's really hard to grasp at times and to accept that I'm not where I should be, or in my own mind I'm not where I should be. From the outside looking in, maybe I am where I should be. I'm not sure, but I'm working on it.
I'm working on it. Yes. Yes, I do see that. It's interesting to me that there's a time component to this for you. That you can look at it and think, I guess it's sort of an expectations component. You go, this is where I expect to be at this time in my life, and not being there.
Yeah, it's
creates this feeling.
Yeah, it's really hard too being a woman, because you have, like, there's women out there that say you have all the time in the world. They say that they have babies when they're in their 40s, late 40s sometimes even. Some people can't even have children, which is really devastating and hard to grasp. But essentially we all have a biological clock that's ticking, and ideally I wanted to have children by now, and not having children right now is quite difficult and tough, and I feel very unfair and unjust when you look at other people who have kids that shouldn't have children. And society mirrors that quite a lot, as you should have your life sorted by this point, that point. And sometimes it's just unattainable, and things happen that we never thought were going to happen. And I guess that's something that I do still struggle with internally.
Very specific. So this is a common thought that I've actually seen come across, that I would you say this is on the feminine side of life, where this desire to have a family and have your own children is really fulfilling for you.
Yeah, I believe it is, but it's not the case for everybody, I suppose, because there's actually women that I see now that have decided not to have children. So I can't necessarily put them all into the same box. But I think for most women who want to have a family, have that feminine urge and need to nurture and experience that kind of love for themselves.
It's interesting because I guess the masculine side of things is slightly different. It's not that we're not interested in children. It's not that. Clearly there would be men on both sides for this one. But what tends to happen as a general pattern that you see amongst men is that we tend to feel this sense of failure from a career or financial perspective, or perhaps even a physical perspective. There's certain elements that we value as men commonly that I see, that we feel like if we're not keeping up with everyone else, this time component again, that seems to be similar and transfer across the genders, that we feel like we're failing to, or we have failed. Or perhaps the way of getting there isn't clear for us, or we feel like we're in quicksand and we'll never ever get there. And I'm at a stage in my life at the moment where we have been talking about starting again and being in the middle and rebuilding, and it feels like, I guess it's difficult to cope with looking at other people that are the same age who have these things in order or have taken care of certain things in their life through great effort, I imagine. And they have them already, and you can, in moments, compare yourself. And it's almost like a recipe. This comparison is almost like a recipe for feeling like you're failing. It's like the road you walk down to go, yep, I've arrived. I feel like I failed. Is in this comparing to others.
Yeah, and I think it bothers me when people turn around and justify that with the thought process that you're not living their life, so you don't know what's really going on. And it's like, okay, I get it. Not every relationship is perfect. Not every family is perfect. Not every outcome of life is perfect. But when you're not in the inner circle and you're seeing the beautiful things that are being posted, you still can't help but go, like, damn, I've wanted that since I was like 27 and I'm now 31, and it's like, oh, another failed relationship, another failed attempt at trying to find the father of my children. I feel like you're letting people down as people get older, and you're not living up to their expectations or what they hoped from you when you still live at home. You are still fighting your way out of the trenches to get back on top. People develop addictions and things like that as well on top of that to try and cope, and then having that put out there for everybody to see is just, it sets you back, and you're like, damn, when is it going to be my turn? Like, when do I get to meet the nice guy that's just going to whisk me away on his white horse and essentially save me? Although that is something that I've learnt lately, that the only person that can save me is myself. So if you're looking at it from that point of view, most likely not failing because I'm putting myself first, but failing in a societal standard type of way, if that makes sense.
It does, because this is the majority, isn't it? If you look around enough and you see the majority of people your age in a position you wish to be in, and it's quite natural to slide into, in that comparison moment, why am I not there yet myself? Like,
people I went to high school with, they all have children. They're all with people they're all living their lives, and I'm like, damn, like, I don't want to be 100 years old and having my babies then, you know? Like, you know, I feel very ashamed and guilty when I talk about it, because I do, and I am deeply, deeply happy for all of them, because I know the things that they all went through and the hard times that they had, and I am grateful that they are all happy, healthy babies, and they all have good lives, and they all, from what I can see, seem to be happy. And I think that that's wonderful, and they deserve that, and appreciate that as well, I guess. But it is difficult being on the other side of it, because you do grapple with the shame and the guilt and the, well, why isn't it me, you know? So failure and this topic is a very heavy one to sort of grasp.
Yeah, this is in what I'm hearing you say is these conflicting, bittersweet elements that you experience, where you get to celebrate someone's wonderful happiness, and in the reminder of that, in the comparison of that, it really hurts because you wish for it and it's yet to arrive. Is there a part of you that's wondering, how do I get there? How do I get this?
Not so much. I think deep down I know what I need to do, but that's for myself, I guess, what I need to do. But the thing is, it's not the 1950s anymore. It's not that time. Someone's not going to just rock up to your house, knock on the door and be like, I'm here. Here's your roses and your flowers. Let's go make babies and get married. It's just not, it's not like that anymore. And it's really sad. And there, like, in saying that, there is a handful of men that are still like that. But those men are usually married already. Or are gay. Like,
or are gay.
You know what
and
I mean?
wonderful
like,
friends.
Or you're all
Yes.
friends, yeah. They're not someone that you would picture the rest of your life with. And meeting people these days is tough too, with all the other societal things that are going on, how men feel when they approach a woman and how they've been made to feel when they approach a woman. And using the dating apps is another horrendous thing that we do, because we just want that bid for connection. So it's...
And the more I hear about this, the more horrific that experience sounds, especially from a woman's point of view.
It's terrible. It's... Ugh. The pits of death is what that is. The pits of Sparta. Just imagine,
And it sounds like
a pit with knives in it, and someone's just throwing you into it. It's terrible.
And certainly there is going to be exceptions to the rule, where there's certain people listening that may have thought, no, I found my person on those dating apps.
Oh, yeah, the small percentage that give you hope that you will find someone on these wonderful apps.
Now, we're not deterring people from these apps, because, interestingly, it has helped you a little bit, hasn't it, for yourself?
I guess so. It helped me realise that I'm not ready to see anybody or date anyone. And I kind of just want to work on myself and get my goals sorted. So that's one good thing. Will I download them in a week? Probably. But at the moment, I don't have any.
I like this idea of... It feels very hopeful to me. And I like this idea of not shaming yourself for going, well, there is some coping mechanisms that have not worked, and I still seem to hold this eternal hope that perhaps I could find someone. Or also, as we have discussed, that not to close off other opportunities and make that, as they say in investing, diversify. Perhaps you'll get the payoff elsewhere outside of these dating apps. Perhaps there's other ways to find somebody that you're searching for. So, if we are thinking of this is what failure is in our life, is there a way to change from this heavy feeling when we fail, do you think? Is there a way to change our perception of it?
Well, every failure is essentially growth. It's not the final destination. It's not the, like, logically I can sit here and say I still have a good 10 years to have kids, really. And the way that science is evolving and all that sort of stuff, things are still looking pretty good. But looking at failure as feedback is a much more powerful way to take control of the failure and use it to accomplish something else in your life that you want to accomplish while you're still working on the other stuff in the background.
Which is a change, because those feelings of I am a failure is taking the moments where we haven't hit our goals and reached our marks or correctly attained that feeling we're searching for. We've looked at that as an identity of ourselves. Well, I'm a failure. This tells me I'm a failure. I will fail. I do fail. This is how it makes me feel. I am this person. Which sort of divorces itself. Well, they could overlap a little, but if we're able to change that from this isn't telling me about me, this is telling me about the patterns I follow, the steps that I take, the adjustments I need to make. It's telling me, it's giving me the map, basically, of going, oh, I see what I did and where I was going, and it didn't get me where I wanted to be. So let's make a new map. Because it's not just a map handed to you to get exactly to the goals that you need to reach. Every person's so unique. It's just not really possible to have an exact map for yourself. So you do have to look for these areas where you feel like failure and translate them from this means things about me. It means I'm less than. It means when I look at other people, they're more than. And actually put that aside and translate it as intended, as feedback for how can I change my map so that I can end up where I want to be, which can be really overwhelming. How do you feel about this almost having to start again on certain goals?
No, this is like the second time I've had to start again. So... This time, granted, was a lot easier. This time wasn't as gutting as the first time. I guess this time, although it still hurts and I still feel that way at times, because failure to me is letting people down, which is odd, I guess, because I'm more worried about what other people think than what I think about the growth in my life. But this time, I was able to really work out what I wanted and what I needed to do to move forward, rather than stay stuck where I was a few years ago.
This is quite good, because it is literally you actually going, what do I need to adjust? And taking action on that. Which is, that's the way to success then. One of my favorite quotes is from Thomas Edison. And it was when he was asked about making the light bulb. And they were like, aren't you upset that you've failed so many times? And he's like, oh, I haven't failed. I've found 10,000 ways that won't work. All I need is one that works. And isn't this the key to find the balance between being able to keep going, receive that feedback, and keep your morale at a level where you can keep moving forward and trying the new ways without getting dragged in underneath the quicksand, feeling like you'll never make it, feeling like it's not worth trying anymore, getting stuck or not knowing where to go next. perhaps there needs to be some sort of support for people in these areas. What do you think about that, Tayla?
Yeah, I think it would be a good thing, but I suppose that's why we're here making a podcast. So hopefully we can become a support network for people that feel the same way, or feel that they don't have anyone to turn to, or feel that they're the only ones that feel this way. So I think I believe what we're doing is good, for good purposes, and even though we have awful ticking sounds in some videos, or I'll clash my bracelet on the bench and it will make a noise. We're still working on it. So we're still failing. We're small failures.
We're still failing. Yes, that's a good point.
Every week we're still trying to post it as raw as possible, with my father coughing in the background, or them mumbling about something. So essentially we're still failing. We're still failing. We're still failing, but at the end of the day we're still doing it every week, and we're still pushing it out.
Yes. Now, before some episodes, we've had conversations where we realize we're not 100% before we do an episode, and we've changed our expectations before we started, and thought, let's have a discussion, and we'll change our expectations and say, as long as we keep the habit, what we bring is enough. And that's going to be our expectation for this episode. And we've tried, and some of them have been heavy for us, and took us a bit to calm down afterwards. And this that you spoke of, Tayla, where you were saying we're still improving and making mistakes, that's actually something we are using every single week for our podcast. We are searching for problems or things that have gone wrong. We have some trusted people, which we've carefully selected, so it's okay. You don't need to drop in the comments just yet, but some trusted people to give us feedback so that we can improve and try and do one thing every week to improve, which is going to add up quite significantly over time. And this is a big thing, I believe, with the allowing yourself time and adjusting your expectations from perfection.
I think that that's a perfect way to look at it, because we are failing, but using that failure as the feedback to make these better. And I suppose you can then essentially put that into your life now. So your daily routines, the things that you do every day. I suppose these failures are there to teach us that it's okay to reflect and to move forward.
And it's really interesting, because when you start actually searching for others, really quite successful people, and you start listening to how they view failure, you learn something incredible about how many people that are very successful, that have had to fail so much in their life and have had all the opportunity in the world to be discouraged by it. And there's an incredible, I guess it's a type of philosophy when it comes to how you can view it. And then I've heard different iterations of people speak about in their own lives over the years. But to imagine if it only took you 100 failures to perfect something. Like, how quickly would you fail? 5, 6 a day? 10? You do as many as you could cope with? Well, what if it was only 10 failures to get to the great thing that you wanted to get to? How many times would you fail? And there's a grain of salt with this. Clearly, there has to be a reasonable, logical analysis of what this will cost you. Don't think in your mind, oh my goodness, I'll only hit the poker machine 50 times and then I'll win big if you don't have enough money to hit the poker machine 50 times. Not that we are going to encourage people to gamble, but it just seems to be a common theme that comes up again. So for these types of people, for like that Thomas Edison, that 10,000 ways he found not to do it, for that J.K. Rowling that you've heard the interviews about where she got rejected from 12 different publishers, and she's like one of the most highly paid authors of all time. And this goes on and on and on, this pattern of looking at very successful people and their ability to be resilient against rejection, against this feeling of failure, by utilizing it to fuel them forward and create a better whatever it is that they're trying to offer. A better music, a better book, a better invention, a better podcast. This is what we're trying to do. Perhaps there's a way in your life as you're listening that you can look at an area where you feel like you're failing and turn it to look at it from the point of view of, what does this tell me about how I'm doing it that I can then change and get a different result? It's not a simple thing. You have to kind of commit yourself to this, and it's okay. Your mind is going to tell you all along the way, you're a failure, don't do this, it's going to let you feel rejection. But doing as often as possible to identify it and make this conscious choice to use it as feedback to adjust your input, then it's going to actually become a habit where you just do this naturally for all areas of your life where you feel like you're failing, that you have to do a bit of trial and error to come up with the path that takes you where you want to go.
And how do you feel, how do you see failure, and how does that feel like a threat to your nervous system?
Now, this is huge because this one comes from my childhood. That if you were anything less than perfect, or if you failed, then there was danger. It was very real when I was young. And that takes quite some time to allow yourself to go through similar situations with a different kind of person, and realize that not everybody is going to present some sort of danger to you, or life is going to present some sort of danger to you if you fail or be less than perfect. And then you can get to a stage where you start to actually live where it's okay to fail. In fact, you try not to fail, but to get feedback. You try to search for the areas where someone's gone, that's not good enough, that's not perfect. Because that's excellent. I want to aim for as perfect as I can get something, considering the cost. But I can't do that until I know where the problems are, until I know exactly. So I have managed to get to a point where, despite my nervous system feeling this for quite a lot of my life, that it's dangerous to be anything but perfect, that it's not okay to fail, I've had to learn through trial and error, and by putting myself in this situation, kind of swimming, staying afloat with being chucking myself in the deep end. I think I was extreme. I don't think it's necessary to go so extreme, but there is enough information out there to see how to slowly immerse yourself into situations where the cost is not too great if you fail, where you can keep iterating and finding out new things until you actually succeed, where you can reach a point like I have, where my nervous system doesn't feel like it's panicking and shutting down or running or taking over or unable to think and cope with it. It is possible. But I still feel it. Even now. I still feel it. And I guess I'm translating it differently than I used to before. Have you experienced this nervous system response?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, many times, I think. Many times it presents itself as a threat and you freak out, and then your whole survival mode kicks in, which is what we've been discussing in our previous podcasts. I think this kicked in after my first relationship ended. That's probably when it really kicked in, because it was like I felt like I'd done so many things wrong and there was no coming back from it, and I tried to correct it to the point of perfection myself, and it just didn't. It just ended horrifically, and it set that whole failure threat to the nervous system off. So that was probably pretty rough, that one.
And it's very soothing to make a decision before you're at that point, and have the understanding that once you reach a certain level of nervous system stress, there's parts of the brain that's going to just take over and create an automatic response and bypass the logical centers of your brain.
Yeah, you'll make up scenarios that never even happened to try and justify their behavior, your behavior, to make sense of the whole thing. Like, oh, maybe they just did this, or maybe they just did that. It didn't mean that I failed because they failed at the end of the day. But it's wild how your brain will fill the gaps with different things to train us to hide our failures from society, from families, from anyone, just to be that sort of noble presence that just keeps pushing forward.
This is an interesting step, I believe, to imagine now if we could all take a moment to settle into something not too big, because this is going to be quite overwhelming, to settle into the acceptance that we have actually failed at that thing. Let's just imagine you sitting saying to yourself, yeah, you have failed. Let's imagine talking to yourself in the future, and future you is like, yes, this thing you absolutely failed at. 100% you failed at it. And I need you to hear that and accept it, which is very painful. And we can experience this as literal pain in the body. Our nervous system can create that, and we can feel physical pain in our body from this as a result. And there's another silver lining to this, I guess, or another purpose to this acceptance. And it's very powerful. And it is us being able to pick up our power and say, if I did this and I failed at this, then I can sit down and figure out how I can do it differently and succeed at this.
Well, this is why we're Conversations in Pencil.
This is why Conversations in Pencil.
Don't
Beautiful
forget,
segue, Tayla.
You can rub it out and start again.
You can rub it out and start again.
But I think it's important with this, though, that we don't forget our failures, because they're going to shape the triumphs that we have.
Yes. Yeah. We really can become more as a result of our failures, even if it's just more resilient, more able to cope, more understanding of others. And this is what I see in the world with people that go through a lot. They have so much more compassion and peace towards others because of all that they have suffered. And not that you'd wish that upon anyone, but they've taken something very, very painful and turned it into something quite amazing. And it's possible to do. And it's possible to go to a place where you do not carry this pain around in you anymore. This I'm a failure belief system anymore. That you can set yourself up in a way where you can look at it. This great saying as well from NASA itself, the problem-solving people itself, that fail fast and fail forward, because they realize you must fail to figure out what you need to change, and there is a way to do it so that you don't go backwards. There is a way to do it so that you don't get stuck. There's a way to fail forward. So make sure you have a look at what it will cost you. Energy, time, money, finances, relationships, what it will cost you to make a failure. And try and think of this before it happens, and try and create a course and follow that course. And then come back and go, it didn't work. What exactly was the reason it didn't work? Can we adjust it so that it will? How can I do this quickly? How can I get onto the next thing and change direction and make it so that I do succeed? So that I don't stay in this zone of basically stuck in your nervous system. An inability to move forward. We want to fail fast and fail forward. Just like NASA does. And here they are flying to the moon. I'm quite certain most of the people listening don't have the dream to fly to the moon. But their dreams are still big for them. And it's possible. If they can fly to the moon, it's possible for us to reach our dreams. How do you feel when someone says that to you, Tayla, that it's possible to reach your dreams?
I guess it's encouraging. I mean, I still have limitations on myself. That maybe there's certain things that I can't reach, but that's just me learning and growing and changing and developing my skills from certain situations to better my life. But hearing that it's very encouraging, and I guess it's true when they say anything is possible, but being stuck is not going to make it possible for you. You need to break free from that. Otherwise, you will just keep living the same cycles and circles over and over again without change.
And this is where the practical parts come in. On what tools we can access, what ones are available, what skills we can actually build so that we can start not getting discouraged, but adjusting our expectations to see failure as indicators to change the path and try again and not get stuck. As we always talk about tapping, there's an interesting one that I've found that so often in childhood we would see a doctor or another specialist, and part of what they would ask us to do would be to write down everything, to basically gather data. So to go and see what you were eating and what you were sleeping like and what your responses were, what your body felt like that day, as much data as possible. They had metrics that they gave to you to have a look at. If you drink this much water, and if you do it at these times, and if you eat these types of foods, and what's your body's response, and what does this condition change, or is there any change, and they just kind of get you to map it. And this is the very reason people journal every day. This is the purpose. Not just simply to record what's happening or keep track of what's happening, but to use this as a way to see exactly what you did, what the plan was, and come back and analyze it with the view to say, where did it fail? How can I make it better? what a good tool to start with to map your life. Have you done any journaling, Tayla?
Yeah, I have done some journaling recently. I'm not, what's the word, prompt at doing it every night, but I did start, I do journal, not often, but when I feel like I need to get some things off my chest, I'll journal. So it is helpful, and it does make me feel better when I do it. It's probably something I need to implement in my everyday routine.
I've realised I too struggle with this because I don't want to do it. And I found that I had to start asking questions of why I don't want to do it. Sometimes it's really just painful to look back at stuff.
Always. Yeah, I see, but I think I've looked back at my journal because I've written it over the last 4 years. I sort of look at it and go, you silly, silly girl. What were you thinking? But that's just growth, and that's probably one of the good things about journaling is reflecting on where you were to where you are now, which does back up this whole failure falling forward thing that we're talking about.
I really enjoyed when someone told me one time that if you look back on stuff and you feel embarrassment at certain things that you did, it tells you you're no longer that person. Otherwise, you wouldn't be embarrassed. And I take great comfort in the mortifying things that I look back on in my life and realize that, oh, I must have changed and that's not who I want to be now. And that's why they're embarrassing to me. I find that very comforting. So perhaps you're a person who prefers to talk. There are tools out there who will do talk to text. Perhaps you are happy to do a vlog each day for yourself, to record it on your phone, to record it on a computer. Perhaps you do prefer just to simply write and do it whenever you feel like it, or perhaps you are someone who can do it every day. Maybe you're someone who needs a prompt. Maybe you can use, in this circumstance, to specifically outline a plan and then write a prompt to return to that says, what did this failure reveal? What was the failure and what did it reveal? Perhaps you come back and it will be successful because you wrote a plan. Maybe just the act of writing it out gives you more data to make your decisions. This idea that it's safe to fail, this little experiment, these little things that you can say to yourself like, oh, I wonder what we can get away with. That's an interesting one you could use.
There's also a bunch of really helpful apps out there as well that encourage routines and mental health awareness, which is really important as well, that I think people should also access as part of their maybe journaling or as part of this shift that they're trying to experience, which will help them and motivate them to stay on track.
Yeah. I did not realize for myself how hard it was to switch from, I guess, management brain into worker brain. And I would get there first thing in the morning, and if I didn't have the routine list in the app to just follow without thinking, I never did it. And the moment I set up the app for myself, and I was very gentle with this, I didn't expect to go from 0 to 50 things each day. I slowly started implementing the things I was naturally already doing and then slowly added to them. And used those failure points to reference again and go, oh, that was hard today. Why was that hard? Or I couldn't do that today, so I must have jumped too far forward. And I went, good. We need to reduce whatever it is about that task that feels a bit too much for me and build up more slowly to it. And just having to not switch from manager brain into worker brain and do the actual task was so helpful for me to not be stuck. I realized there are many reasons why I get stuck, and that's one of them, trying to figure out what to do and what the plan for the day is. and to just get in motion first thing without having to figure it out helped me immeasurably stick on the course with it. And I give myself a lot of leeway to start to. Yep, I skipped every second day to start. Sometimes I left it as the majority. I only have to get it done, 4 days out of the 7-day week this week, and I've hit it, and I can pick any 4 days. Just this really, really gentle, self-supportive methodology in how you implement these tools in your life is so helpful. It is always, we're starting it, it's new, it's in pencil. Come back, rub it out, redraw it. Now, something that we do each time is our tapping practice. We realize that this has been a lot to carry for us to discuss these very personal things. And we took our courage and we did it. But those feelings are still swimming around in the background. Are you experiencing any specific sensations in your body at the moment, Tayla, as we talked about all this?
There's just a bunch of resistance. Talking about it to me is a failure because I'm addressing it and putting it out there for people to listen to. But in saying that, it's in hopes that someone else who is in my position might be able to relate to my life and the positions that I've been in and know that it's okay to fail, which is the same as it's okay to make mistakes.
I guess this is part of one of the steps, really, isn't it? To risk revealing your failures to yourself and sharing them with somebody as the correct person that can help support you and will not judge you for this. Which I certainly don't. Which is why we've created our script today to help us just start tapping along on these exact resistance points in our body, on the doubt and the emotions we feel when we think about failure and the failures in our life, because we want everyone to be able to honestly look at them and cope with it and have the support of this and the support of tapping while they do this and be able to make adjustments and succeed. We want all of us to go in the direction of success and reach it. And this is one of the steps to honestly have a look, and it's scary and overwhelming. So let's start our tapping script for today. If you all tap along, I will put links in the description also for a video that you can follow along with and see the exact tapping points. I'm just going to use the names of them at the moment, as Tayla and I have done this before. But if you have a look at that video, it will show you exactly where the points are on the body, and you can tap along with us and follow along as we continue reminding ourselves with these phrases about failure. So on that karate chop, we'll tap along and repeat after me. Even though I've failed and sometimes it feels heavy.
I
deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've failed and sometimes it feels heavy. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've failed and sometimes it feels heavy. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. On top of the head, failure makes me doubt myself. On the eyebrow. I feel stuck when I fail.
I feel stuck when I fail.
On the side of the eye. I completely love and accept myself.
Completely love and accept myself.
Under the eye. I failed and it hurt.
I failed and it hurt.
Under the nose. That failure is not the end.
But failure is not the end.
On the chin. It's data, it's feedback.
It's data, it's feedback.
A soft fist on the collarbone. I can learn something here.
I can learn something here.
Under the arm. I don't have to carry shame with it.
I don't have to carry shame with it.
The two wrists together. I can fail forward into growth.
I can fail forward into growth.
On top of the head. Failure shows me what matters.
Failure shows me what matters.
It's a stepping stone, not a stop sign.
It's a stepping stone, not a stop sign.
I'm safe, I'm learning, I'm moving forward.
I'm safe, I'm learning and moving forward.
Failure is not the end.
Failure is not the end.
Sometimes failure hurts.
Sometimes failure hurts.
But I can learn something here.
And then I can learn something here.
It's the feedback that I need.
It's the feedback that I need.
I'm choosing to accept failure.
And choosing to accept failure.
A deep breath. Very good. So, as a conclusion, for all of you joining us, thank you so much, Tayla, for all of your insights and sharing what you have today. And it took a good deal of courage. And I do believe it will help people. Don't forget that you are writing in pencil. You can choose to return, see the failures, rub it out, and redraw over and over again until you reach success. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Tayla.
You too, Nathan. And don't forget, everybody, to reach out to us if you need any advice or help.
Yes. Yes. Tayla always remembers this. Thank you, Tayla. Please do so, reach out. Please leave a comment. Leave a comment of support for each of us, for each other. Because you know we're here to support you and we really look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Nice work.
Right key sliding, playful and quirky.
Brass punches,
Sharp and perky.
baseline dances.
Feeling sassy.